Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. How's everyone doing? Welcome to another stream, Monday morning. Monday, August. Fareed, what's up, man? Is Amazon heading south? I think everything's heading south right now. Let me just get everything set up here. Okay. Finland. All right, guys. So today is August 22nd. Good morning, everyone. We are seeing a little bit of downside overnight in the futures as well as in this pre-market. So that rejection of that 200 on the ES really was that rejection point. We saw that for sure. So it looks like a little bit of continuation to the downside this morning. And there is some very key levels on the ES and the Nasdaq that I want to point out. We got those gap fills. So if you guys remember, we were talking about the potential for gap fills on the SPY and the QQQ. Those were gap fills from CPI. Those were the CPI gap up. So if you remember, the CPI came out, the market gapped up. When the market gaps up, most of the time you tend to fill those gaps. Now, how long until that gap fill comes? That's the question, but it looks like it's already here. So this morning we filled the gaps to the downside. Definitely something to watch. I'm going to point that out today, and then we'll just sort of look around at some individual stocks. And yeah, let's do it. Let's start it up. So 8/22 futures economic earnings calendar. Here is the economic side of things. Let's take a look at that. So today is the 22nd. We got the Chicago Fed National Activity Index. I don't think that is too influential there. We got manufacturing PMI tomorrow. That is during market open, so we'll keep an eye on that. On Wednesday, not much durable goods, core capital equipment orders, but on Thursday and Friday is where it really starts. So Thursday this week is GDP revisions. That is very important. We have right here Thursday at 8:30, very, very important, GDP. And then on Friday, we have the PCE price index. We have real disposable income, real consumer spending, etc. We also have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at Jackson Hole. So that's a yearly event for the Fed president and other, I believe, big CEOs all go to this Jackson Hole retreat, and that is at 10 a.m. He will be speaking at 10 a.m. on Friday. So Thursday and Friday of this week is pretty loaded for the economic side of things. And that is definitely going to probably bring in some volatility and definitely some, days to watch out. If you're in trades, to watch out for that economic calendar, to watch out for the reactions to these economic news, to the macroeconomic news. So Thursday and Friday, guys, big stuff. GDP revisions. We have the PCE price index, we have disposable income, consumer spending, and we have the Jackson Hole retreat, which is the Fed presidents and some big CEOs that sort of go there and all enjoy hearing themselves talk. Really, that's what it's all about. So that's the economic side of things. Here is the earnings side of things, and we definitely have a few decent earnings this week. So here we go. So earnings this week, we have today after hours, we have Zoom. That is, it's a big name. It's not really a stock that has much influence anymore as it once did, but Zoom, we have JD, one of the Asian names, one of the Asian market names. Dick's Sporting Goods is not really interested. Macy's, Intuit, Nordstrom, Advanced Auto Parts, Toll Brothers, Petco. Is that Petco, like actually Petco, the health and wellness company? I'm not even sure. Nvidia, Salesforce, Snowflake. So Wednesday after close, that's pretty big. You got Nvidia, Salesforce, Snowflake. Those are some big ones right there. And then Thursday, we have Peloton, Affirm, Ulta, Marvell, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. These are big for consumer XLP. Why can't I think of the name? Consumer staples. That is. Those are big for consumer staples. Dollar Tree, Dollar General. That's definitely interesting to see. And then Friday, not much. So pretty big economic side of things, pretty big earnings side of things. Some definitely things to watch out for. Make sure to keep your eyes on both of those. Okay, let's move forward. We can go to, so we'll look at Tesla today. Of course, we look at Tesla every day. I think everyone wants to be looking at Tesla. So Tesla key levels, Amazon 137 flush, Microsoft gap fill. Microsoft had a gap on the daily chart as well, which did fill. AMD wedge break to the downside. Watching a PayPal flush point today. Definitely interested in this play quite a bit. 3 clean rejections. So I want to show you guys charts on Meta, on Square, and on Roku. These are all 3 stocks that have been very weak in this market environment, have had very clean rejections. There's many more out there that had rejections, but these ones are really, really clean. I want to share them with you. XLE holding up. You guys saw this morning. We have the XLE sector, the energy sector, is actually doing pretty well. It's actually, I don't know if it's green, but it's withstanding the downside. So XLE is green, XOM is green, CVX is green. So your energy names are actually green this morning, which is something to watch out for. And then finally, I want to talk about Netflix and Target. Those are 2 of those gap fill names that we were looking at that inherently failed because of the weakness on the market. And actually, you could watch for more downside there if the market continues off those failed gap fills on Netflix and Target. So that's going to be our schedule. We'll look at a few other things. We'll look at more names. But that is basically the core of what we're going to look at today. All right. So let me quickly get the live stream ticker set up for us. If you guys are a member of the stream, make sure to go ahead and put the tickers that you want to look at in the live stream Excel file. You should have access to that if you are a member of the live stream. All right, Nasdaq. Let's go daily chart. Let's pop on the SMAs and let's look at what's going on here. So I'm going to put on the daily SMAs so we can look at them on the shorter term time frames as well to get an idea of where they are. So right now, you guys can see, actually, you know what? Let me go regular here so we can look at them more clean. So here's the daily chart on the NQ. Delete that. Where I'm looking for the NQ to pull back to today or in the next few days is right here, 12,900. I think you will see potentially a pullback towards that 12,009. I'm going to clean those up for now. Why am I watching that level? I believe this is your retest level. I believe this is a level that you'll have to come back down to. This is the previous May highs right here. This is a previous support area here back in April. So previous support in April, rejection in May. You broke through it, right? You got through it. I'm thinking you need to come back down to it. I'm thinking that is where the market will want to pull back to. The ES is already pretty much at that level this morning, and I'm thinking the Nasdaq will want to pull back to that level as well. So do I think there is more downside on this market? I believe there is. I believe there's potential downside towards that 12,900 level, and then at that point, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. That is right. I believe that is pretty, on the ES, it's at the 20 SMA. The Nasdaq's actually below the 20 SMA this morning. So you can see the Nasdaq broke below the 20 SMA right here. This was in the futures market. We got below it. And you can see that I believe if we don't get back towards that 12.9, at least you're looking at 13,000. So now I'm going to put on the daily SMAs so we can go to the different time frames and look at where the SMAs are on the daily chart. So here's this. Let's go to the 4-hour, and we can see, if I zoom in here, the blue line that you're seeing on your screen is the 20, the red is the 200, the green is the 100 SMA, and the yellow is the 50 SMA. These are all the daily chart SMAs. So you can see in the futures market today that we did flush below the 20 SMA. Right here, you can see the flush below the 20, right? So that's important. We got below that 20 SMA. I think if you don't get down to 12.9, you're at least coming back down to these pivot lows, which is right around 13,000. So I would watch 13,000 and I would watch 12.9. Those are my two downside targets today. I think you will see those. I don't see why the market would hold up in this general area without at least testing that 13 or at least testing this 12.9 area. This is where I think the market will come down to test. This retest level. Previous rejections into support, and then you probably see it test that again. Now, does that turn into support? That's a question that we'll have to answer as we get closer and sort of watch the price action. But right now, I'm thinking 12.9. That's where I'm thinking you see this NQ come back down to. You also have the 100 SMA near that level as well. If we go to the QQQ, this is where the gap fill has occurred. So you guys can see we were targeting, or at least I was watching this gap fill on the QQQ. It's right here. It's from 322 to 319. That's where the gap fill was. That's where the gap was created off of the CPI. This is the CPI gap up. This is where that gap was filled or started to create itself. If we go to the 4-hour chart, we will see that we did indeed fill that gap in the futures market in the after hours. So would have been nice if you could have played that intraday, but we definitely got it here. It's the gap has been filled, so we can now ignore that gap. All right, it has now been filled. It is, you have pulled back to that level. The QQQ is the same as the Nasdaq, right? So it's below the 20 SMA. Nasdaq back down to around 12.9 would equal the QQQ back down to this general 315, 316 area. That's around where that QQQ and Nasdaq sort of line up, right around that 315, 316. Okay, so that's what I would be watching. That is back to the May highs. That is right here on the QQQ, right in this general area. You can call it around 315, 316. You can also bring it down to around 311. So right in this general zone is where I'd be watching on the QQQ for your pullback. So you filled that gap on the QQQ. I believe you probably need to see us retest these May highs right here, right around that 12.9. That's what I would be watching today. All right. ES. So just a textbook 200 SMA rejection on the ES. That was quite clean, wasn't it? I'm a little upset with myself. I will be honest, guys. Last week was pretty choppy for me, and I just sort of took the gas off the pedal a little bit. Probably could have got a little bit more aggressive. Just didn't have a clear mind, I guess. And I tried to listen to myself. I listened to myself the best I could. Didn't have a clear mind. Didn't catch the market as I should have. And rather than trying to trade through that and lose money, I just sort of sat back and laid back. Now, looking at this, obviously, I'm a little upset that I didn't just trust this 200 SMA rejection and played this to the downside. But that is hindsight, and I can't bring that energy into this week, right? Can't bring the energy of why didn't you just play the 200 SMA rejection into this week? It is what it is. It's it's sunk cost. It's gone. It's over. And I need to bring the energy of catching the new opportunities into this week, and that's what I plan to do. So 200 SMA rejection on the ES, very, very clean right there, guys, really perfect. Pull back, and you can see we are back to the May highs. You have the May rejection point here, and you have the April support right here. April support, May rejection. You have a previous rejection here back in August, and you are now trading back at that 4170 area. This is going to be a very big level for the ES. This is where I think the Nasdaq will come back down to, right? It's the same level in time. It's this May high. That's where I think the Nasdaq comes back down to 12.9. The ES is already there, right? So the ES is already at that May high. What happens at this level? This is going to be very important today, right? This is going to be very important today. Right around this 20 SMA, you guys can see that blue line. The blue line here, that's the 20 SMA every single day that it pushes higher. And you can see we're trading at it once again. 4170, May high, August high before the breakout. You're getting the break, you're getting the retest. So what happens on the retest? Do we hold here today? Right? Do we hold the 20 SMA? Do we hold the retest? Or do we break through it? If we break through it, you're probably coming back down to these channel lows. 4100 would be my guess. 4100, low of this channel, low of this channel. That would be the pullback area if you break that 20 SMA and these May highs, August highs. So that's the level I'm watching on the ES. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see, if I zoom in, that blue line is right where we're trading today. That is the 20 SMA on the daily chart. That is at these highs, these previous rejection points, and you have this previous high right here. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see where that blue line comes in. It is right at the levels we are trading at today. This blue line on your screen, that's the 20 SMA on the daily chart. So we can either look for that crack, right? If that cracks and rejects, then you probably have some nice downside. If that tries to hold the ES up today, that is something to pay attention to. I'm not sure it's going to. Market's definitely got some downside pressure. Not sure the 20 SMA is really going to hold it up, but at least it isn't. I think it's important to have on your charts today. I think it's good to know where the 20 SMA is on the daily while you're trading intraday today. So I would definitely recommend having that on your charts. 4170, 20 SMA, previous rejection. What happens here today at this level? This is going to be very, very interesting. SPY, right? We had the gap on the SPY, if you guys remember. So I was posting that on my Twitter last night, just sort of saying we have that gap on the SPY towards 417. And you can see right here, 417 to around 412. You are sitting right at the gap fill area, right at that start of that gap fill, right around 417, 416. So if you drop below that gap fill, or into that gap, I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart and you're going to see it. So we are sitting right there at the start of the gap. If we drop into this green zone, then I would assume you get your gap fill from right here. That's your CPI gap up. If you drop below 416, I would say 416.50, 417, then you're in that gap, right? Which is on the daily chart. Right here, guys. This is what I'm pointing out. You see this area? This little gap up? 3 arrows, that's your gap, right? Green area is your gap. If I go to the 4-hour chart, we look at where the green area is. This is your gap. So, if the ES or if the SPY breaks this 416.65, you're in your gap, and you could possibly see that 412. So watch out for this gap today. That is definitely something I would be watching. All right. Dow Jones daily chart. So the Dow got above the 200 SMA and it ultimately rejected. Obviously, it's not going to be able to hold up with the rest of the market rejecting, right? So you got your 200 SMA rejection. I believe your next level is probably either that 20, right? You can watch for that 20. You could watch for these May highs. That's right around this 32,250 right there. Where are we at? I'm sorry, 33,250 is this May high. That's right here. I would watch for that first. And under that, you got the 20 SMA, and then you have these previous highs around 32,900, 33,000. These are sort of the levels that I would be watching here. I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart, and we're going to look at these a little bit closer. So you can see 4-hour chart. Just like the Nasdaq, I think you need to come back down to these May rejection area right here. See all this May rejection. It looks like you could potentially come back down to that 33,250. Under 33,250, you're looking at around 33,000, 32,900. Okay, those are the levels I would watch. Finally, on the Russell, really awesome. 200 SMA rejection. I know a lot of you guys in the chat played this, so congratulations. That was an awesome play. 200 SMA rejection on the Russell, knowing that the Russell was sort of pushed up on hopes and dreams because of the small cap rally, and a really nice rejection of that 200. You can see to the downside. Now you're sitting at that 20 SMA, and right around, you could see around that May high rejection as well, or that May high, come back down to that May high as well on the Russell. So you can see this May high, June May high, around 1920, 1900. Okay? So if I could, if you could generalize all of the futures together, I think almost all of the futures should trade back to that early June May high rejection point. I think that is where you need to see this pullback come to. So on the NQ, you can see it's around 12.9. On the ES, you're pretty much there already. So the ES is going to be very interesting today. On the YM, which is the Dow, I think it's around 33.2, 33.250. And on the Russell, it's around that 1900 to 1920 area. I think we need to retest that May and June rejection point that we saw. I think you need to see us come back down to it. So that is my idea right now. I don't see why the market would hold up before testing these levels. This is, usually the market will like to come back and test these levels to see what happens. So right there, 12.9, that's where I'm targeting today on the Nasdaq. That's about 200 points more. That would be about another 2% to the downside before we get to that level. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I think that's a pretty decent target. I think that makes sense for the pullback because you can see the ES is already doing it. So if the ES is there, then I think you'll see the other indices catch up to that. So the ES is the interesting one. This one is going to be very interesting today for me. What happens with the ES sitting at this level? And the 20 SMA. All right, let's continue. Tesla. So Tesla, I'm going to delete the SMAs here just to clean this chart up. All right. So this morning, we have a little bit of a gap down, and we are turning potentially this previous support level around 874, 875 into a rejection. So you guys can see right here, 874, 875 right here. We are trading below it. So I'm watching today. If Tesla tries to bounce back higher and rejects this level, then I want to see if I can play the downside. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you guys can already see this morning that we are starting to reject that exact level. You can see, look at this line, 874.38. That is exactly where we previously had this support level. The low of this candle is 874.38. The low of this candle right here is 874.38. And if I go to the 5-minute chart, look at where Tesla rejected, 874.38, which is sort of right. It's interesting to see we're starting to get a rejection right there. So definitely watching this level. You can also watch the previous day lows. This is something I also love to watch on Tesla. So you can watch the lows here, which is 877.50. 877.50 could be the other rejection you watch out for. So previous day lows right here. If you get a bounce on Tesla, watch for the rejection at that level or watch for the rejection right at 874. So definitely two levels I'm watching on Tesla. You can see, which is pretty damn clear. Look at where Tesla rejected on Friday. It does this quite a bit. So if you draw the lows from Wednesday of last week, right? You can see the lows of Wednesday of last week at 900. You draw that across. Look at the perfect rejection we saw on Friday on Tesla. So I actually traded this rejection, not at 900, but a little bit lower. So that was a very nice play from Friday. Really nice previous support into rejection. This is a nice break and retest on Tesla. I'm looking to see if we can get the same. Right? I'm looking to see if I can get the same type of trade. You have a previous low. Can we get the push into the previous low? And can we get that rejection? That's what I'll be watching today. So anywhere between 874 to 877 would be the rejection zone on Tesla today. I'll be watching for rejections in this general area for downside. If we get more downside, if I look at this hourly chart, I think Tesla, if we get a rejection there, I would think Tesla needs to trade back down to this 855 low right here. That's where I think you need to see it back down to, right? So if you have a previous low here, previous low here, previous low here, previous low here, I would want to see us reject this level and trade back down to the 850. That's what I'll be watching out for today. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's probably going to be my game plan today. Look for a rejection of 875, 877. Look for that rejection point and see if I can trade this back down to the low of this channel towards 855. Okay? Amazon. So Amazon, really nasty flush point, and it did it in the futures, which I hate because I would have loved to play this. But you can see right here, guys, really clean rejection. 877, I'm sorry, really clean flush, 877. You can see previous lows, boom, boom, right there. And you can see the downside under that flush level. Where do I think Amazon needs to trade back down to? 133.50. 133.50 is where I think Amazon needs to trade back down to. You have the previous lows of this channel at 833.50, and it seems to me that Amazon will need to trade back down to that level. If it breaks that level, then you guys know what we're looking at. It's not going to be pretty, right? If Amazon breaks that level, this could be a major, major, major gap fill. Let me get this to zoom in. So if Amazon breaks 833.50, this is a very major gap on Amazon from earnings that could see some weakness, that you could definitely see some extended weakness through, all through here. So that is definitely something I will be watching. Amazon is going to be on my definitely on my watch this week. You can see if we don't come back down to the exact gap fill, I would expect at least to come back down to around 125, these pivot highs. So anywhere in between here would be a fantastic downside play if you look at this. If you look at this gap. So definitely something I will be watching on Amazon. You can see right here again, under 133.50, you have nothing here, nothing. So watch under 133.50 on Amazon. Definitely a watch. Microsoft. So Microsoft had a gap on the daily chart. You can see right here. I have it sort of drawn out. This is your daily gap fill. Right there, you have a gap from CPI. Right here, a little gap up from 282 to 286, about a $4 gap. And this morning, you have filled it. So this morning, the gap has been filled. So unfortunately, unless you swung Microsoft puts, unfortunately, you can't really take advantage of that anymore. But very nice gap fill there on Microsoft. I think the next levels you're looking at are 278.50, which is the lows of this little consolidation. And then you're looking at this low here at 272. So here and here, these two previous lows is the levels that I'll be watching to the downside. You can see we broke this little uptrend that we tried to create right there. You break the uptrend, you fill the gap. If the market continues weak, I would look for the lows 278.50 and then 272.40, right at these two levels. Once again, just want to share with you the gap fill. You can see it right here. Really clean rejection. This is also the 200 SMA. So if I put that on, you guys can see right there, 200 SMA, perfect rejection. I'm sorry, yeah, 133.50. If I said 833.50, then I meant 133. So you can see right here, what a clean 200 SMA rejection on Microsoft. Previous highs, rejection, gap fill. I would look for 278.50, 272.50. Those are my two levels to the downside. All right, so definitely Microsoft. AMD, I already did the SPY, Marie. You can go back to the beginning. Here is AMD. So AMD, remember we were talking about this wedge? Very nice wedge. We got the breakdown of the wedge. Eventually, the stock has to break the wedge. So definitely a wedge to watch out for on the downside continuation. So breakdown of the wedge. Let's go to the 4-hour chart to see this a little bit more clear. Here's the 4-hour. You can see the wedge that was created, and we can see the breakdown. So what I'm looking for today on AMD is I'm looking to see, does AMD turn this previous low, 94.17, 94.17, does it turn that previous low into a rejection point? If AMD turns 94.17 into a rejection point, then I'm looking for the next downside move towards 92.40. That is the low of these candles right here. So 94.17 and then 92.40. I'm looking to see if I can find where AMD rejects on any type of push higher. So the first one would be 94 area. That's right here. Let me zoom out and get the hourly chart for you. Why is Thinkorswim doing that? There we go. Right here. So you guys can see wedge break, very clean. Right now we removed that wedge. We know it's broken. Here's the previous lows. There's the candle lows right here. And if you draw that over, that's right around 94.17. So if you see AMD push back into that level, start to reject it, right? If you start to see this reject, then I would look for that maybe bear flag back down to 92.40. So that is what I'm watching today, 94.17. It's right in that general area. It won't be right on the dot, right? It's never to the cent, but it's going to be in this general zone for previous support to turn into a rejection. And I'll look to see if I can play that. All right? That's AMD. We'll go over Nvidia real quick. Nvidia's still sort of in its channel, but obviously has been nice downside in the channel. You can see we're really just still channel bound for the most part. 190s to 167, 168. If you think that Nvidia needs to trade back to the bottom side of this channel, which is very possible, then I would say there is potential more downside towards 168, right? In the past, when Nvidia pulls back, it doesn't just stop at the middle of the channel. It's very rare that it just sort of bounces in the middle of the channel. So could you see Nvidia just come right back down once again to the bottom side of the channel? I think that is very possible, right? Does Nvidia just come back down to the bottom side of the channel? I think that is very possible. If you look at what it's done in the past, bottom side of the channel, bottom side of the channel, bottom side of the channel would be my best guess. Where if you see more market downside, right? If you see Nvidia, or if you see the Nasdaq come back down to those May-June rejection points, maybe another 2% to the downside, then I would expect Nvidia to trade back down to the 167 if it aligns with the market weakness. You do have earnings coming up, yes. So I wouldn't say, go crazy on some type of swing trade to the downside. But for day trades into earnings, if the market is weak, I would say Nvidia could probably see this retest of 167. That's what I'd be looking for. All right. What else? PayPal. I actually sort of like this PayPal idea. So PayPal looks similar to something like Amazon. So if you look at Amazon, you can see this was that little previous flush point, and Amazon flushed under it. I'm thinking PayPal's going to look to do the same thing, guys. So here's PayPal. Here's the 4-hour chart. And the previous level I'm watching is from this previous high right here. This rejection point that's right around, it's right around this 92.50 level. Anywhere from 93.50 to 92.50 is this previous high from back in early May, late April, early May. This is also where earnings was. So you can see that very clean rejection point. You came back down to it after this earnings gap up. So you gapped up on earnings. You came back down to it, right, after earnings, and you held it. So you held it as support. You bounced back to the upside. You created a double top. So you can clearly see PayPal just doesn't have the steam to continue higher. So you created somewhat of a double top there, creating this range of 102.50 to around 92.50, about a 10-point range, right? So you have that 10-point range. Now, if you break the bottom side of the range, I would expect there to be sellers. I would expect there to be a flush, possibly to come back down to where we were off of earnings, which is around probably this 90 or this 88.50 area, right? Right around this 88.50 area. So, if I see PayPal on the 5-minute chart or any intraday chart that I'm watching, a trade, if I see PayPal start to get under this area, right? If I see PayPal start to come back below this flush point, which is around 93.60, then I will be looking for that continuation to the downside, because I know on the 4-hour chart that this is a very key level. The low of this candle is 93.64 and 93.61. So I just put it at 93.60 because if we're trading below 93.60, then you are below this channel or below this low, which could influence a flush, right? Back down to this gap fill. I don't know if it's a gap actually. Yeah, it is a gap. It's a gap from earnings. So a lot of gaps, right? A lot of gaps. Here's another one. So you can see, we break that 93.60, we are at the earnings gap up, and you could fill that gap. So watch that, guys. I think that's important. I want to push up Walmart. I forgot to put it on the calendar, but this is definitely interesting. So Walmart has been full of gaps. I mean, this chart has been an absolute disaster lately because of all the news that's been coming out about it. So the high of this candle is where's the open of this candle? Open of this candle is 136.43. Let's put something there. 136.43. So that's the open. I think that's very important to watch. The highs of these candles is right around that 134, 133.80. So I would put a line at 134. And then if you break through that, you could just sort of see us trade into this chop. But the gap fill, I think, sort of ends around the 133.80, 134. It's all right in this general area. You can see the gap up right here. But I would still watch this 136.40 candle open. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see we are sort of trading right at that this morning. Walmart is trading right at that candle open. If I go to the 4-hour chart once again, I'm sorry, let's go to daily. This candle open right here, the open of this candle, this is on the 17th of May. The open of this candle is 136.43. So if I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see that Walmart is trading right at the open of that candle. So I believe that if you lose this 136.43, then you probably fill this gap, right? If the market's weak, 133.75, right in this general area. Back down to fill this big candle gap up off of earnings. So watch for that today, guys. A lot of gaps. A lot of gaps. That's another one. All right, let me go over some clean rejections that I saw. So here's again, just I like to be open with you guys. I like to really talk about my feelings and how I'm feeling in the trading, in my trading and my performance. I just missed a lot of opportunities last week. That's really it. I missed them. It's just plain and simple. Missed opportunities. Here's the one that I talked about almost every day and just never took my shot on it. Just didn't have the confidence in the overall market. So you can see we talked about Roku, right? Roku, I just want to point out these really clean rejections. Here's Roku. Just want to share with you sort of what to be looking for. Previous lows all right here. It came back into it and it rejected it beautifully. So Roku was definitely one. Congrats to anyone that played this. I know some of you in the chat did. Really clean previous lows into a rejection. Just textbook stuff. That's a really awesome rejection point. That's a really awesome trade to take. Very good risk to reward. You can see right here, previous lows, previous lows, previous lows, into rejection, right? Very nice stuff. Bounce, 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 break, retest, rejection, double top, and you can see what happened, right? Really nice flush. So really nice setup there on Roku. Square was another one that we talked about almost every day on the stream and just never executed my plan. You can see right here, Square, $90 level, rejection, 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 rejection. Just a really clean top there at 90 and a really nice flush under that $80 level, right? So that was another very clean rejection. I would still watch for these. There might be even more downside. And then finally, Meta. What an awesome rejection on Meta. You guys can see Meta came back right into that channel high. Boom, boom, previous lows, boom, boom. And you can see previous double bottom support into a double top rejection. That's textbook stuff, right? And then you can see that slide to the downside. So, when you see things like this is sort of like that swing trading mentality, right? This is sort of like if you guys have a full-time job, if you can find these on the larger term time frames, If you see, for example, like, let's say you're looking at Meta on the daily chart and you say, hey, I like, for a swing trade to the downside off this previous rejection, right? These are the types of plays that maybe some of you guys out there that maybe work a full-time job, that maybe you can't monitor the charts all day, could potentially think about. Just daily chart analysis, double top rejections, something like this on Meta, double bottom into a double top rejection. That's a really awesome play right there. We talked about it all the time, but there's a difference between talking about a play and actually executing on it. And that is where I failed last week. I did not execute on it. Yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. Some really nice ones. There was another one on Roblox. Roblox was another one we talked about. Really, really clean. Look at this. Awesome. Just a really clean rejection, 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 rejection. And look what happened when we came back into it again. Awesome rejection. Nice stuff. Look for this, right? If you guys are seeing this anywhere on your charts, if you're looking at a stock where it's rejecting a previous high, especially in the weakness that we're seeing right now, this could be a stock to watch for more downside off these rejection points, right? So look out for that formation. Look out for those previous rejection points to come back up and reject again. Very nice levels to watch. You can see look how clean that is. I'm just looking at this chart and it's just so clean. It's so clean. I love when I see that. Trading does not need to be complicated, right? If you can play these levels, it works. So very nice right there. All right. XLE. So the outperforming sector this morning is the XLE. It's the energy sector. The energy sector is actually green this morning. And why is the energy why do I think the energy sector is holding up? One, because it's a little bit more sustainable in this type of market. And obviously the hot sector is energy. It has been all year. And also, if I look at the technical side, and this is why I opened a swing trade on energy, boom, boom, and boom, right? That is some textbook stuff right there. That is some textbook break and retest on the XLE. You can see previous rejection, previous rejection, previous rejection, into support, right? Really, really clean stuff. And this is why I continue to hold an energy swing trade. So definitely like this. Definitely going to be watching this for continuation. XLE is the only sector that is green this morning. So if you guys want to look at something that's outperforming, I would monitor the XLE, the energy sector. I would just watch out for 80. You guys saw a really nasty rejection at 80 on Friday. So I would watch out for a potential 80 rejection. If I go to the daily chart, the reason I'm pretty confident on more upside is because I just don't see a reason to reject in this general area. You guys can see it was basically straight down from 84. Straight down. Basically within 2 days, you dropped 8% on the energy sector. So we are back at those levels. And I would expect if we can sort of get moving here on energy, that we can push towards maybe that 84 area. If we can get back into this pretty low volume drop here on XLE. So watching that, you got stocks like XOM, you got stocks like CVX, you got stocks like Oxy. Oxy went pretty crazy on Friday. I'm really not sure why. It outperformed so much, a lot of volume coming in there. But overall, just keep a watch on the energy sector today, guys. It's definitely the outperforming sector. It has been, and it could continue. So I would definitely monitor that. All right, finally, Netflix and Target. I know a lot of eyes were on these gap fills. I know a lot of eyes were, really salivating over this potential play. So was I. I was very interested. But the reason I never went for Netflix is just, you can see, we just never got over this 250, right? We never got over. Yeah, I thought that Buffett news was old, though. Did he buy more? I thought that news was already out like a few months ago. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there was new news. He was cleared to buy more. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I knew Buffett was in. I knew Buffett bought a bunch, but I didn't know there was an update. Okay, thank you. So rejection there, 248, 250, and you can see it just did it again, guys. So is Netflix here a potential downside, right? Is there more downside here on Netflix? I think there could be, yes, right? Netflix is not I wouldn't say Netflix is the strongest name out there. And if the market does start to unravel, let's say we get some more downside, this is definitely something I'll be watching because this is a very clean rejection. This is a previous, if you go to the daily chart, this is the candle open or candle high from back here, right? Back when that gap fill started, this is that candle high, and you can see the perfect rejection at that level. So if Netflix wants to continue lower, I'm definitely going to be watching it. I think this is potentially a pretty nice move to the downside if the market stays weak. I would sort of watch this 230 area as potential support. If you start to hold this 230 area, just watch out for that. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by the potential for Netflix downside here off this 250 rejection. Definitely something that I'll be watching this week. Target tried. But look at where it rejected. Target tried to start that gap fill, and it just got slammed. I mean, really, how you would define this? Just a total slam on Target. You guys can see right here, previous low, and just look at the perfect rejection there. Absolutely textbook stuff. Previous low, 183.50, and just boom, straight into it and rejection. So both of these names, guys, they did not, sort of get into their gaps. The market's just a little bit too weak, I think, for that to start happening. I would look for Target to potentially flush these channel lows right around here, 163.20. If you flush that low, I think you probably have some more downside. All right, guys. So that's what I had today. Let me now pull up the ticker form and see if you guys got anything in there. We'll go over that, and then we'll jump out of here. All right, we got a few in here. So we got PANW, we got Disney, we got MDT, Zoom, Cisco, DKS. So we're going to look at those right now. If you guys could take 1 second before you head out, if you start heading out, if you start creeping out, just press that like button before you leave. That would be much appreciated. I am working on something for... I'll let you guys... I'm really thinking about doing something interesting for this 50,000 giveaway. That's why it's taken a little bit. I'm not just going to do something basic. I want to give someone something that lasts a long time. Something like investing for them in the future, giving them money to invest for their future. Something like that. I don't want to just do something boring. So stay tuned. I don't know if some of you guys are waiting on that, but I want to think about... I'm trying to do something that's helpful. Not just money, but helpful for your future. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to make it a little bit different. I don't want to just be boring. So, anyways, PANW, daily chart, it's just a chop fest. You can just try. If my best advice here for anyone, whoever wrote this, is to try to trade the channel low. Try to trade this to the channel low. That would be my best advice to you, right? I would expect, this to come back down to the downside. Yeah, I was thinking of buying, like money to buy shares for your M1 account, starting you an M1 account. I don't know if I can really gift shares away, but if I do, I have to go through a lot of legality things, so I don't know how difficult this is going to get. But I was thinking of buying leaps for you, buying shares, something, right? Something you can choose from 5 different options. So something to start your long-term investing. That's really my goal, is to start someone off with a nice little long-term, give them a kickstart. That's my goal. All right, so yeah, PANW, just watch the channel. Disney, yeah, Disney could be a downside gap fill as well. Where's that gap fill start? I don't want to just give away access to my community. I want to give something legit. I want to give something really positive away. You can come to the Discord membership. I can, that'll be part of it, but it's not just, that's free for me, guys, right? I'll be honest with you, right? If someone gives away a Discord membership to you, it's absolutely no cost to them. So that's fugazi. I can give you a free 6 months. It doesn't cost me any money. I want to give something away that's, I want to come out of my own pocket to appreciate, the people that supported me. So downside 117.33. 117.33 is the downside here on the downside candle on Disney. So you guys can see right here, 117.33. If you break that, which you're right at it right now, you guys can see right here, you're right at it right now. So if you are, yeah, I would watch this for sure. Good call. Whoever wrote this out, good call on Disney. Watch for that Disney gap fill for sure. It starts right there at 117.33. If you drop that, you got down to around 112. So yeah, definitely a watch in my opinion. Okay. MDT. I'm not sure what this stock is. Yeah, I mean, I would just maybe watch this channel low around 87.50 and then watch this rejection up here around 100. It's really just sort of trading in this little zone. So I would just look for this. This is what I'd look for. I'd look for that. Rejection off 100. Zoom. It's you got earnings, guys. Zoom's a crap stock. Please don't do it. Just look past it. I mean, if it breaks, here's the channel you're watching. 128 to 96. It's just a crap stock. Please don't play earnings on it. I mean, maybe you get lucky, and you'll come back to the stream and say, I told you so. But you'd be getting lucky. Cisco. I mean, choppy as well. Choppy as hell, honestly. You can see right here. Here's some channel highs to watch out for. I would watch out for 50 rejections on Cisco. That's what I'd look for. 50 rejection. Right here. 50. Watch out for that 50 rejection. Finally, DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods. This has earnings as well. This looks like it's getting a little heavy up here, guys. 116. Look at the previous support, previous rejections all right here, guys. And you're rejecting again. I would say that's getting a little bit heavy up there towards 116. Watch out for that rejection. All right, guys. That's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Anyone playing Ape? All the apes, not going to get it from me. So this is not the Ape channel. Just anyone out there that's, interested in trading Ape today, then you're definitely not aligned with the channel. So, yeah, just know that. If I make a video about trading the Ape stock that comes out, so unsubscribe to the channel, delete everything that I post, just leave me alone. If that's where I head to, someone's gonna give me a kick in the ass, because I will not. No, stay away. Trade the stocks that are real stocks, right? Trade the good stuff. All right, guys, that's all I got. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.